the San Antonio Spurs suddenly announced that Victor Wembanyama will miss the rest of the season due to a deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. This means that Wembanyama will no longer be eligible for honors like Best Defensive Player, All-NBA First Team, and Block Leader. In his second season as a rookie, with his individual performance just starting to peak and after making his first All-Star appearance, Wembanyama's season is tragically cut short due to this injury. For Spurs fans, this is undoubtedly heartbreaking news. According to Spurs reporters, Wembanyama was diagnosed with a deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder after returning to San Antonio post-All-Star break. This is a serious injury for athletes, as it can lead to blocked blood flow, swelling, pain, and other symptoms. What is deep vein thrombosis? Will Wembanyama be able to return to the court? What are the ripple effects of his unexpected injury? Simply put, deep vein thrombosis is the formation of a blood clot in the deep veins of the body. According to Mayo Clinic, blood clots are most commonly found in the legs, but the deep veins in the arms, pelvis, and shoulders can also be affected. The greatest risk is that if the clot dislodges, it can travel to the lungs, potentially causing a life-threatening pulmonary embolism. Many NBA players have dealt with this injury. Brazilian forward Anderson Varejão, while playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers in January 2013, was hospitalized due to a blood clot in his left lung. After the clot was removed surgically, he missed the rest of the season but returned the following year. In 2015, Portland Trail Blazers legend Jerome Kersey passed away after a blood clot from his left calf traveled to his lungs, causing a blockage. In the same year, after the NBA All-Star Game, Chris Bosh experienced extreme discomfort in his lungs, went to the hospital, and was diagnosed with a blood clot. He underwent treatment that required 2 tubes to be inserted into his ribs to drain fluid from his lungs. Bosh then announced that he would miss the rest of the season. For the next 2 years, Bosh struggled with blood clots. In 2016, another clot was discovered in his leg, and when doctors informed him that his career might be over, Bosh played his last game against the Spurs, scoring 18 points. In 2017, after failing his physical at the start of training camp, the NBA declared that Bosh's career would be ended by his blood clots. In 2019, Los Angeles Lakers star Brandon Ingram was also diagnosed with a blood clot in his right arm, which led to surgery to remove part of his rib. After a long recovery, he made a full return to the court. Additionally, Detroit Pistons rising star Ursula Thompson missed a year of play due to blood clots, and Oklahoma City Thunder's Keontae Johnson collapsed on the court in college from a blood clot issue. Due to their height, NBA players are at a higher risk of blood clots, and those who travel frequently by plane are also at a greater risk. Wembanyama's diagnosis of a right shoulder clot is eerily similar to Ingram's situation. After Wembanyama's diagnosis, experts stated that the injury will seriously affect him and that he will need at least 6 months of rest. However, the surgeon who operated on Ingram's shoulder pointed out that shoulder blood clots generally pose less risk than leg blood clots and that the size of the clots is smaller. Therefore, Wembanyama's outlook is still considered optimistic. With advancements in medical technology, it is certain that Wembanyama will return to the court. From all the information provided, it's clear that while this injury will cause Wembanyama to miss out on several awards this season, proper treatment should not significantly affect his entire career. The Spurs are confident that Wembanyama will be back for the NBA training camp in October for the new season. So far this season, Wembanyama is averaging 24 points, 3.8 blocks, and a 35% three-point shooting rate. His offensive and defensive stats might be the most impressive for a second-year rookie in NBA history. When Wembanyama is on the floor, the team outperforms opponents by 6.5 points per 100 possessions, and he is the best rim protector in the league. Among all players who have logged more than 30 minutes on the court, Wembanyama's field goal percentage in the paint is 13.2%, and his block rate of 12.7% is also the highest in the league. Had Wembanyama remained healthy, it would have been almost a certainty that he would win Best Defensive Player and make the All-NBA first team this season. Unfortunately, his injury has derailed what could have been a historic season. To support their future superstar, the Spurs made a bold move before the trade deadline by acquiring De'Aaron Fox, adding offensive energy to the backcourt and pairing him with an all-star caliber perimeter player. Additionally, during the offseason, the Spurs showed interest in experienced role players like Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul to complement Wembanyama. It's clear that everything the Spurs have done in the past 2 seasons has been with one goal in mind: to build a strong team around Wembanyama. At his current level, Wembanyama is likely to sign a supermax contract with the team in 2028, making him the second player after Luka Doncic to sign a supermax contract at the end of his rookie deal. The team has built a new roster around him, preparing for a supermax rookie extension, but now he faces an unexpected and significant injury. Wembanyama's season-ending injury essentially means that the Spurs are out of contention for the playoffs this year. If the Spurs miss the playoffs, it opens up greater chances for teams like the Sacramento Kings, Phoenix Suns, and Golden State Warriors to potentially secure spots in the play-in tournament. Currently, the Spurs have a record of 23 wins and 29 losses, with some hope of still making the play-in. The good news is that they have their own first-round draft pick, and thanks to the DeJounte Murray trade, they also possess the Atlanta Hawks' first-round pick for next season. If the Spurs perform poorly for the rest of the season, with 37 regular season games remaining, they could easily land a spot in the lottery, potentially in the 5th or 6th position. If the Spurs' record falls below 23-32, worse than the Trail Blazers, their chances of landing a top 4 draft pick will increase by nearly 6.5%. If they drop to 22-33, worse than the Bulls, the chances will nearly double. If they succeed, they could secure a great draft position. With Wembanyama, Fox, and other core pieces in place, adding a high draft pick could inject new life into the team's future. This year's most popular draft prospect, Cooper Flagg, recently considered returning to Duke University for another year. However, I believe this is mostly a complaint, and if he sees that the Spurs have the top pick, he likely won't pass on the draft. As a potential number 1 pick, Flagg could become the next Tim Duncan, another elite power forward. In previous youth basketball leagues, Flagg's debut performance was monstrous, with 52 points and 12 rebounds. He's averaging 32 points, 8.7 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and 5.3 blocks per game. At Duke, he also posted 42 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists in a game, setting the record for most points by a freshman in both Duke's history and the NCAA's. It's hard to imagine what heights the team could reach with both Wembanyama and Flagg as a duo. History often works in mysterious ways, and in 1996, Spurs star David Robinson announced he would miss the season, and in '97, they picked the historic number 1 overall pick, the greatest power forward of all time. If the Spurs end up selecting Cooper Flagg this year, the Spurs could create the most dominant twin tower duo in modern basketball. So while Wembanyama's season-ending injury is a major blow to both him and the Spurs, the ripple effect on next year's draft and this year's playoff race is significant. Of course, we know that Wembanyama's injury is definitely sad, but the butterfly effect it triggers is certainly intriguing. Finally, we hope Wembanyama can recover quickly and return to full health, so we can see what kind of ceiling the greatest talent in modern basketball can reach.